Sup Shredders, my name is Logan aka Spiderhands and welcome to an SP Reviews where today we have ourselves a track by an act named Christian Stutzig titled Best Friend. And if we switch over to here we have ourselves a track on the screen. Now full disclosure, while it has been a while I have reviewed Christian's work before and I do typically enjoy myself. It'll be great to hear more of what he's got going with Best Friend, so we're going to listen through it from start to finish. And we're going to hear what we think. Let's go. Oh, we got the guitar coming through nice and cleanly, that's cool. Very personable, isn't it? Tone of this. These really pretty open chords. They could actually be bar chords, to be fair.
You're the person I don't want to live without. The most important person to me. Thank you for being here, even though everything else is falling apart.
Just shout out to this tone of that lady singer there. Her voice sounds great. Solid vocal technique. Really interesting melodies and way of approaching those ideas.
I'm not alone anymore. We're together. Thank you for everything you do for me, for all good things you see in me. The two of us against the world, a connection that lasts forever. Two friends for a lifetime.
And we just came right out of that hook, back into a verse.
Come take my hand and let's walk
No filler.
together. All I need is you. No matter what happens, I'm staying with you. If I feel bad, I can count on you.
I mean, I'm not trying to take the piss or anything like that. I reckon you could get the candle. Or like the phone that they use nowadays, get the candle going back and forth. It's a really well phrased track. And I mean, at 1:30.
My heart
Oh?
beats with yours. Life has made us good
We've got the piano as well,
friends.
nice and low end.
Not another step without you.
Interesting filter on it.
Thank you for everything you do for me, for all good things you see in me.
The vocal harmony's really buffered up here, I appreciate that.
A connection that lasts forever. I just wanted to say thank you. You were there for me when no one else was. You showed me what it's worth living for, and I just thank you for that. You always have an ear for me. That's what a friendship is all about. I know where to go when life sucks again. Thank you for being my favorite person. Thank you for everything you do for me, for all good things you
I don't particularly mind that we're not layering more instruments on as we go along. I mean, I don't necessarily think we need more. It's enough just to have the piano, the guitar, and the vocals, and the harmonies there, and the chorus parts.
against the world. A connection that
It'll be interesting to see what we do with the rest of the real estate, though, within this track, you know, being over performance.
for all good things you see in me. The two of us against the world. A connection that lasts forever. Remember how I've been with you back then. With tears in my eyes you caught me. Your closeness is what I need. When I'm with you I'm just happy. I almost gave up, but then I found you.
It's beautiful,
I just
isn't it?
wanted to say thank you.
Showing their gratitude for that person in your life, you know, that special person.
Yeah. Thank you for everything you do for me, for all good things you see in me. The two of us against the world, a connection that lasts forever. Thank you for everything you do for me, for all good things you see in me. The two of us against the world, a connection that lasts forever.
trying to get that idea stuck in the person's head or the listener's head. I'm being grateful for what that other person has done for them. I think that's fantastic. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that at all. It's a simple approach to songwriting and composition, and when you get the fundamentals done correctly, there is no faults whatsoever, really. No weak points. Because this is the conclusion of my review of this track, Best Friend, by Christian Stutzig from Christian Stutzig Records. What I think this track is about, well, I think this track again is about basically celebrating that person in your life who helps you to continue moving forward, gives you that support, that strength, you know, that will to go on, helps give you a reason for being, etc. The two of you going against the world. I think everybody needs a best friend. You know, the world is a lonely place if you don't have those next to you, and this song highlights that. So I think a lot of people that are going to listen to this are going to be able to sort of like appreciate and respect what's going on. I'm really happy that we had it going though. I'm really proud of Christian Stutzig for putting this forward. It's a very authentic take on it. The lady singing it seemed like she really cared, like she was almost singing to her best friend. It came through in a really authentic and genuine manner. The hidden chest voice was nailed. You know, we had really great sort of like melodic ideas going on with those verse sections there with lots of range with the notes. It wasn't the same intensity the entire time. You know, there were slight changes in the oomph behind the performance, but I think the harmonies in that chorus section with the two different parts sung by the same singer there really kind of made that chorus pop. And you know, we did repeat those ideas there, those sequences, just for the sake of having it catchy, you know, but also memorable, and it succeeded. There was enough context provided in the verses to flesh it out, but then we also had the hook lines repeating there 3 or 4 times, which, you know, isn't particularly egregious. I think that it's fine within the amount of time we had with this track, just to really kind of get it stuck in the person's head. And I think that the audience that appreciates the story will also appreciate the way it was sung. So I'm really happy with that. I think that the track at 4 minutes 12, there was good use of the structure, the real estate there. You know, we had the guitar start things off there with the vocals coming in afterwards. We had verses, and then we had choruses, and then we had the piano come in later on as well around the middle part, just to kind of flesh it out in that low end, make it a little bit less kind of airy sounding, which I think was a smart move. There was not obviously a lot more than that. I mean, like, the guitar parts with slight arpeggios occasionally, but mostly strums. The piano is kind of rolling on that low end. Maybe a little bit of articulation in a high, but not as audible as that mid to low range. And the vocals kind of pitched or like sort of like notched up in that upper mid register of the frequency spectrum. You really didn't need more than that. And I think the stereo panning of the piano was great, as well as the guitar parts. It sounded nice and wide. That's not just a studio thing, that's also an arrangement thing, so I'm really happy with that. There was a relative minimalism to the way we were doing these chords. The progressions, you know, we didn't have any sort of spicy sort of semitonal sort of chromatic parts. It's basically sticking within the traditional sort of scale shapes and key signatures, with very minimal change with the rhythms of the instrumental performances, etc. But I think that was just to allow for the flexibility of the singer doing their thing, whatever they wanted to do, whether it was the verse or the chorus. So that was absolutely fine. Nice friendly chord, 4-chord progression. That, you know, the motif did sound like we were grateful for that person in our life. We were showing, giving them thanks, you know, letting them know that they're loved as much as they love us. And I think that's a beautiful concept. Finally, the recording, mixing, mastering, the studio production was solid, really well handled. I'm happy with what I heard from, you know, Christian Stutzig and everyone else involved in regards to that type of thing. It can be difficult to not sort of sterilize pop music, but I think we managed to avoid it here. It was really cool listening to, you know, this track and hearing the guitar sound as crisp as they did, as nicely notched and filtered as they did. The keys were a little more sort of like resonant around that low mid-range, but I think there was lots of space there because we didn't have any sort of other bass instruments or anything else kind of occupying that space in the frequency spectrum. And then of course we had the vocal parts kind of sitting on top there, which were nice stuck there. Only a little bit of reverb on there, but not too much treatment of the vocals there. They are relatively raw, and I don't think that the vocal performance would have basically benefited from being soaked in effects, so that's great. It was nice and wide and stereo filled with like the panning of the guitar parts and the piano bits, no weird resonant frequencies in the frequency spectrum. There was dynamic range and change to perceived loudness as well, and it was nice and loud without pumping. I mean, effectively this is my review of Best Friend, track by Christian Stutzig of Christian Stutzig Records. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If you did, please do go show them some love over the various social medias and the YouTube page, and stay cool, stay safe, and please remember, you support your local musicians and artists at this point in time, as they help more than ever with all the great stuff going on in the world, and I will catch you in the next review. Spiderhands Out.